Hello again. Today I want to ask you another question. What is most valuable to you? What do you consider the most valuable aspect of your life? Maybe it's a thing, maybe it's a person. What is it? Now, to get a truthful answer from people, if you ask people that, then they will tell you really what you want to hear. They're not usually honest about it. They'll say some answer like, well, as a Christian, what's the most important thing to you? Well, my relationship with Jesus, etc. If it's true, that's great. But very often, in their heart, it's their brand new shiny car, or their new house, or their whatever, their materialistic ownership of something or other. Now, I want to read a couple of things that Jesus said about treasure. In Matthew 6 and verse 21, he said this. This is from the Passion Translation. Don't keep hoarding for yourselves earthly treasures that can be stolen by thieves. Material wealth eventually rusts, decays, and loses its value. Instead, stockpile heavenly treasures for yourself that cannot be stolen and will never rust, decay, or lose their value. For your heart will always pursue what you esteem as your treasure. Your heart will always go after that. In other words, what you give your time to, or what you spend your money on, that is a good indicator of where your heart is. All right? If you spend hours and hours on the computer or messing with your car, fixing it, doing things to it, that's where your heart is. What you spend your time and what you spend your money on. Now, in Luke 12, Jesus gave another illustration. A wealthy landowner had a farm. This is Luke 12, verse 16. A wealthy landowner had a farm that produced bumper crops. Every year, the harvest was so great it filled his barns to overflowing. He thought, what should I do now that every barn is full and I've nowhere else to store more? I know what I'll do. I'll tear down the barns and build one massive barn to hold all my grain and goods. Then I can just sit back, surrounded with comfort and ease. I'll enjoy life with no worries at all. God said to him, what a fool you are to trust in your riches and not in me. This very night the messengers of death will demand to take your life. Then who will get all the wealth you stored up for yourself? The same thing will happen to all those who fill up their lives with everything but God. So that's very cutting, where we see, well, what we're going to do. We've got to have a nice car, and then we build the bigger car with an estate, on it. So you can put the dog in the back, or more luggage, or you build an extension on your house, or it's just not big enough. Be content with what you've got. Jesus said, I'd rather you put your trust in me and build something spiritual into your relationship with me than materialistic things. Now, my last reference is in Peter. Now, in Peter, I think I'll read this from the King James. It's just as good as the other one here. Peter. Greatly rejoice. This is 1 Peter 1 and verse 6. Greatly rejoice, even though now for a season, if need be, you're in heaviness because of manifold temptations. In other words, you're going through a rough patch. That the trial of your faith be much more precious than gold that perishes, might be found unto praise and honour and glory at the appearing of Jesus Christ. He's saying something there. He's saying your faith, or the trial of your faith. Now, we don't like it when our faith is tried. But how is God going to know how mature we are and how strong we are if he never allows circumstances to test us? So we do have trials and we do have temptations. And God allows these things into our lives in order to test our faith and to purify it. And God said here through the Apostle Peter, he says that the trial of your faith is more precious than gold that perishes. So think about it, gold and faith. Now, at the end of our life, what is going to be more important to us? What is going to save us from hell? Small point. Are you going to be saved from hell because you got a stack of gold? Is that going to impress God? The streets in heaven are made of gold. He doesn't need your gold. But what connects you with God is your saving faith. The fact that you put your trust in God and that you love him. That is what's going to save you. So your faith and the trial of your faith should be truly, really more important, more of a treasure to you than gold that perishes. Now, I can't be honest for you. You have to be honest with yourself. You have to look yourself in the mirror, look yourself in the eye and say, what's most important to me? What do I consider to be my treasure? Because what your treasure is, what you consider to be your treasure, is what you're going to pursue with your time and with your money. Okay, time for an honest look. Amen? Join me. I'm going to do the same, all right? Bye-bye.